Okay, so here's a simple demonstration that I can show you about how your wireless network works. How do your laptops actually try to send something to the wireless router up your wall, and how do they actually get something back from the router. So what we have over here is three circles, three nodes for that matter. Circle 1 over here is a wireless router that is hung up your wall, has an internet connection in the back, and has antennas in the front, and that can communicate with your laptop. You know a wireless router? Have you used daddy's laptop?
Yes.
Okay, so so you know how to use internet in a wireless mode. Okay, that's absolutely nice. So here is something that can provide internet to your daddy's laptop in a wireless mode without any wire hooking up. And here are two laptops. Suppose your mommy's laptop and your daddy's laptop. So here are two laptops, and here is the wireless router that can supply the internet data to your mommy's and daddy's laptop without any wire between them. Okay, so this is wireless router, and these are two laptops. So throughout the course of this demonstration, what these laptops are doing is that they're continuously trying to send some information to this router, and maybe they'll try to get something back from the router. It's like exchanging information, and they're trying to do it in a very best way. So we start the demonstration, jump in time. Now shortly you will see something flowing out of laptop 2 and laptop 0. This is the first thing, and there's the second thing. What you see over here, a little arrow, is what we technically call a data packet. Data packet is simply a chunk of information, a packet of something that you want to say. Suppose you want to say something to your daddy. Suppose you want to say, I want a chocolate. I want a chocolate is what we call a chunk of information. You want to convey something to your daddy, you say that thing, and that thing is this. Suppose this laptop tells this router that, okay, I want a chocolate. This is the piece of information that is flying out of laptop 0 to wireless router. And now notice a difference. Do you notice a difference?
They're both going at the same time.
Exactly, that's brilliant. That's really brilliant for your age. Both of them are trying to talk to wireless router at the same point of time. Now suppose you're talking to your daddy. Will your daddy be able to hear you properly? Usually? Yes, right? But suppose your sister starts talking to your daddy at the same point of time. Will your daddy be able to perceive either of you?
Not as good.
Exactly. So if someone is talking to another person at the same, maybe, may not be time, I'm sorry. If someone is talking to someone but alone, they'll be able to hear both of them each other very properly. But if two people start talking to the same person at the same point of time, it will be drowned out, right? It will be disturbance.
Right.
So that's exactly what happens here. Since two people are trying to communicate to the same person, this person is not able to perceive anything that either of the persons said. Does that seem pretty intuitive? Does that happen in your day-to-day life?
Yes.
A lot?
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. So what happens here, because of talking at the same time, is a collision. In day-to-day language, we call it a disturbance. In technical terms, we call it interference or collision. That's what happens when two people talk at the same time to the same person. And that brings us to the very first fact in wireless communications, that only one device can talk successfully on a given wireless channel. In other words, to one person, only one person can talk. If more than one people talk, then there will be disturbance. To your daddy, only you can talk, or your sister can talk at one point. If both of you start talking to your daddy at the same point of time, daddy will be befuddled, he'll be confused, he won't be able to understand a single thing. Does that happen a lot?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's nice, you're getting hold of things. Okay, now we try to move this laptop far ahead from this router 1. So what happens here is that you're still closer to your daddy, but your sister moves far back, maybe the end of the room. Now let's see what happens. Now you'll see a red wave coming out of laptop 2. Observe that red wave carefully. Okay, did you see the red wave?
Yes.
Did it reach this wireless router?
No.
No, right? This is your sister talking from the end of the room. Can your daddy hear her?
No.
No. Why?
Because her voice isn't reaching all over.
Exactly. In other words, the distance between you, your father and your sister is much large, right?
Right.
This is you, this is your father, this is your sister, and you are much closer to your father, but your sister is far away from your father. And because she's far away, your daddy cannot listen to your sister. He can just listen to you. So that brings us to the second fact, that everything over here has a limited range over which it can talk. I can easily talk to you, I can easily talk to your father. But can I talk to someone in Charlotte just by shouting? No, right? Why? Because the distance between me and the person in Charlotte is way too large. I cannot simply shout. My range of talking is limited to you, or maybe just the end of the hall, but not beyond that. So that applies to wireless communication too. Everything, your daddy's cell phone, your daddy's laptop, your mommy's iPad, everything has a limited range over which it can talk. It cannot talk beyond that range. It's simply impossible. So that's the second fact. Now let's go to the third fact. This is quite subtle, but let me help you through the way. Now we bring laptop 2 a little closer. Your sister moves a little closer to your father, and both of you try to talk at the same time. Now, there is something you talk, your sister speaks, and now, for momentarily, both of you try to speak something at the same time to your father. Hi, please have seats.
Hi.
So here, both you and your sister try to talk something to your father. Now, this is something you spoke, that is something, the red wave was something your sister spoke. Now, both of you spoke at the same time, but was there a disturbance here? Did you see any disturbance? No, right? Why?
They're not going at the same time.
They are going at the same time, but exactly, you are still closer to your father. Does that seem pretty intuitive? Okay, another example. Suppose I am standing over here. To my left is a low talker, and to my right is a person who is shouting at the top of his voice. Who will I be able to listen to more clearly?
The person is shouting.
Exactly, because the person is shouting at the top of his voice, and here on my left is a low talker, I will not be able to clearly perceive what that low talker is talking. So that brings us to the third fact, that strength or power at which you talk is pretty important. The shouter over here is what he's doing is that he's talking at the top of his voice, but the low talker is hardly using any energy to talk, and that's why this shouter is completely overpowering or drowning whatever this low talker is speaking. This over here is the shouter, this is me, and this is the low talker. Because this low talker is speaking at very low energy, I may not be able to perceive anything, and that's why I'll be able to listen to only one person at a time, and there will be no collision. Does that make sense? Okay. Now we'll let this person come a little ahead, and both of them will speak at the same time. Let's see what happens. Okay, this person came closer by, and both of them now will try to transmit at the same time a moment later. And this, okay, now there was a collision, an interference, a disturbance of sorts, because both of them are close enough to the listener and they're trying to talk something, trying to convey something at the same time, and obviously there will be a disturbance, will be an interference. So this little demonstration over here highlights three very basic laws of wireless communications. However complex the system may be, maybe your cell phone, maybe your iPad, maybe an airplane somewhere over the Atlantic trying to communicate with someone in Quebec, someone in Chicago, maybe a submarine in the Pacific trying to communicate to someone in Japan. Concepts are absolutely the same. These three are basic principles over which every complex wireless communication system is built on. Okay, and there was just a simple demonstration enough to show these three basic principles. So that tells us how really simple and intuitive or obvious wireless communications is.